Hi everybody, welcome back to the Rummage Workshop. It's finally starting to feel like spring again. The crocuses are up, the snow is melting, and I've been slowly taking away all of the items on my spring cleanup list. One of the big items on the list is to restore the set of teak furniture that's been left to the elements for about 4 years. There's quite a bit of water damage. I've also never been a huge fan of this finish. The color is lovely, but it covers up the beautiful wood grain. The cushions could also use a little love too. I love teak for outdoor furniture. It's an incredibly dense wood with a naturally occurring oil in its fibers that protects it from the elements, so it can last a really long time. There are lots of schools of thought on how to properly refinish or restore teak furniture. You can find these little 3-part kits where you have a cleaner, a bleach, and a protectant. You can also just sand it down and seal it. You can also use a teak oil a couple times a year, but if the surface starts to look gray and cracked, there is really no way to avoid sanding it down and starting fresh. I'm using a few products that I just found at my local big box store. I really wanted to show you that you don't have to be fussy with the products that you use. My goal is to sand away the existing finish and the water damage, rehydrate the wood pores, and then seal it all up so it can withstand another 5 years of neglect. So let's dive right in. First, I start by removing all of the covers from the cushions. And I put them through a wash using OxiClean to brighten them up. Afterwards, I just let them air dry. Make sure not to put them in the dryer. Now it's time to start sanding. I loaded my sander up with 80 grit sandpaper and set to work buffing out the original finish and the water damage. Next, I came back with 150 grit sandpaper to knock back any swirl marks and to smooth out the texture. So much sanding. This is by far the most sanding heavy project I've ever done, which is hilarious because I chose this project at the start of the week because I thought it would be a little easier. Oh Lord. Such is life, right? So after I did a pass on every surface with 150 grit sandpaper, I came back with 220 grit on my hand sander. I did this once again to knock back any swirl marks from my sander and to ensure that the texture is buttery soft. I can't believe it happened. I'm finally done sanding. And here's all the sandpaper I went through. After giving everything a really good vacuum with my shop vac, I then came back with warm water and Dawn dish soap to give everything a really good wipe down. For my finish, I'm going to use Watco Teak Oil Plus Stain. My goal is to enhance the wood grain and the gorgeous honey color of the natural teak. I also want to deeply moisturize the wood fibers. I gave the container a good mix and then tested the color on the underside of the table and it looks amazing. Using an old t-shirt, I then applied a generous amount to every surface. At this stage, you could apply another layer and once that cured, you would have excellent protection from water damage and UV rays. However, you would then have to reapply this product or just a regular teak oil several times a year to maintain the finish. I want this to be as fuss-free as possible, so in addition, I'm going to be applying an extremely water-resistant oil-based Spar Urethane formulated for outdoor woods. Just keep in mind that your teak oil has to dry for at least 72 hours before you can apply this finish. 3 days later, I loaded up my HVLP gravity-fed spray gun with Helmsman Spar Urethane in a clear satin finish. Before spraying, I was sure to come in with a fine grit sandpaper to just knock back any fibers that raised when I applied my oil. I then sprayed it on a very thin layer across every surface. I'm gonna be honest, this was not my favorite product to spray. The fine mist left in the air landed all over my hair and clothes, and it took several showers to get it all out. I usually spray water-based finishes, so this was a nice reminder that oil-based finishes are a different monster altogether. The next day I took a 220 grit sanding block and lightly sanded every surface, and then I started rolling on the second layer. It was a million times easier to roll on this product than it was to spray. The fumes from this product are no joke, so be sure to wear a well-fitted respirator with pods that are rated for urethanes. I would suggest letting this product cure for several weeks before you expect to use it, as it takes a while for that smell to dissipate. After letting that dry for at least 8 hours, I came back with a brown paper bag to polish up any texture left on the final finish. This is my secret weapon for getting a flawless finish every time. For the next few weeks, I'll keep a brown paper bag handy to smooth out any rough spots in the finish as we begin to use it more and more. Let me remind you of what this piece looked like before. It was definitely looking rough. This has been left out during the winter, during the summer, in the sunshine, and it was definitely time for it to be refinished. I put the newly cleaned covers back up on the cushions, and just look at this gorgeous teak set now. Thank you guys so much for following along with me today. I'll see you guys back here next week for another transformation from the Rummage workshop.